Hey guys, this is Ryan with Aaron Overhead Doors. This is our podcast, show 2. And as promised, we're going to tackle the topic of where to buy a garage door. And I feel like this is super important because a lot of people don't know. And I'm kind of surprised by that in some cases, but in other cases, I'm not. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how to buy a garage door. This one's probably going to be a little bit longer than the last episode. Last episode was roughly 10 minutes. We'll probably run into 15 minutes. I'm going to try to talk fast and get through this as quickly as possible so you're not spending a ton of time on it. But here we go. So you're in the market. Now what? What do you do? What do you search? Where do you go? Do you do a bunch of research first? Do you call people first? Who do you call? What do you search? And so these are the things we're going to talk about. Most people, I think, have a tendency to go online, do a search for different types of garage doors, garage door pricing, get an idea. I don't think a lot of people have a full understanding of how much garage doors cost. And so first they like to see what's in their budget. And first I'll tell you, garage doors just aren't that expensive in most cases. Now, if you want a luxury garage door, something nice, high end, they can be expensive. But for majority of garage doors, they are very affordable. And when you think about it, they last a long time. And so that's a plus and a minus. The plus is they last a long time, so you don't buy them very often. And that things can change from the first time you buy a garage door to the second time you buy a garage door. And so it's not like buying, well, it's actually a lot like buying a car in the fact that, it's not something you do every day. And the purchase process can change slightly from the last time you purchased, including the prices. Prices are going through the roof right now as far as increases are concerned for the past year and a half, 2 years. So you go online, like the Home Depot and Lowe's websites are great if you want to get an idea for like what a garage door costs, just in general, without labor or all the other accessories and stuff that's needed to install the door. Now, keep in mind, there's a bunch of other stuff that goes into that, but that's a good place to kind of get a rough estimate of what a garage door looks like price-wise. Now, there's 3 ways to buy a garage door historically. You can purchase online. There are people that sell garage doors online. You could certainly purchase from a local dealer like Aaron Overhead Doors. Oops, wrong side. I'm looking at myself in mirrored reflection. And you have box stores like Home Depot or Lowe's, and in some cases do a phenomenal job with helping people out with finding garage doors. And so we're going to tackle the different types of garage door dealers and what are the pros and cons. We're going to start with the box stores. So the pros with the box stores are, number one, you get to go on their website, see the pricing. You get to see the different styles they offer. There's a lot of limitations, I think, on what they offer as far as styles. There's also some limitations on brands. They only offer one brand, where garage door dealers like myself can offer multiple brands. So keeping that in mind, the uh, the box stores have a reputation to maintain, and you may have some familiarity with some of the associates there, or just comfortable with the brand, and so that's important to know. When it comes to some of the negatives that I feel when it comes to box stores, there's not a lot, but something to point out. Number one, the sales associates may not know everything they need to know when it comes to garage doors and garage door installation. So there might be some surprises along the way. They also are only able to sell one brand, and and so when you're selling one brand, you're a little bit limited. We discussed that. Other than that, I mean, the only thing I can think of is that you're not getting a like a Home Depot or Lowe's employee coming out and installing your garage door. You're getting a subcontractor that, in most cases, they don't really want you to know who that is because they're a subcontractor of Lowe's or Home Depot. And so they don't really get into the process until after kind of a deal's been struck between you and the the box store. Now, we did some work for one of these box stores, and we did their install process. I could say that the process wasn't very smooth. It was 3 or 4 times longer than it had to be. Uh, Lack or poor communication was definitely dampered experience for homeowners. And so we would also go to pick up the parts and doors that we were going to install, and they'd be missing things that they didn't tell the customer they needed. So you deal with that a little bit with the box stores, but at the same time, I think in the long run, they're going to get it right for you. You may just have to deal with multiple conversations, but they do big volume, and they do it right in a lot of cases. So you may be one of those that it runs really smooth for and it works out well, and your comfort level and stress level is low for that process. So I definitely encourage, if you're starting the process, that's a good place to start. Now, garage door dealers are great because they can offer multiple brands. So like Aaron Overhead Doors here, we can offer, I actually sell 6 or 7 different brands of garage doors, and it all depends on what the needs of my customers are. And I think there's a lot of dealers in the local area similar to myself that do very similar things, and that benefits you as the shopper. We like to find the goals of the consumer or the customer, and then we're able to point you in the right direction from there. You have new construction dealers. You have kind of like the 1 or 2 man dealers. You have retrofit dealers, which retrofit just kind of means that we're used to taking them out and putting them in. New construction's just used to putting them in. You have call center dealers, and you have franchises. These are some of the most popular garage door dealer types in the market. New construction dealers, in a lot of cases, they will install garage doors for you at a little bit of a lower price in some cases, because they have a tendency to hire at a lower rate, dollar-wise in some cases. And so that's obviously not the case with everybody, but they specifically have to pay attention to the profit margin on every single job, because on new construction it's so thin. So when they get a retail job or a retrofit job, they have lower overhead in a lot of cases. But those guys, in my experience with hiring new construction, they do not like tearing out old doors, and so they're just not used to it, and unless it's one of the old school experienced guys. Anyway, long story short, you have a one-person dealer. These can be great and they can be bad. I know more good ones than I know bad ones, but some of the local guys here, the one-person dealers, they do a phenomenal job, and they can be less expensive because they don't have overhead. They wake up in the morning, they install a few doors, they pocket the money, and they roll on. And sometimes these guys can work for companies, local companies like myself or other companies, and they will install garage doors for many different companies. Call center dealers, so I want to spend just a second here. Call center dealers are becoming more and more popular. Some are good, some are bad. You just have to be really careful. But what I mean by that is these are marketing people, marketing companies who have created a call center, do a ton of advertising in the way of like Google AdWords or sending you coupons in the mail, really low rates to try to generate phone calls, and then their staff is located in another state. They will try to book an appointment with you for one of their contractors here in the local area. There are a few that have been coined what's called bad bobs by our industry, and there have even been a few who've been arrested for what they do to people. These people have no interest in a reputation or repeat or referral business. They are, in general, out to make as much amount of money on you, particularly, as possible. They'll play all the games to get in the door and then jack the rates up, make you feel guilty for not paying. And so they prey on single moms, elderly, people who aren't familiar with the trade. So just be careful. And like I said, I mean, there's some good ones and there's some bad ones, so you just have to be aware of what you're dealing with there. We'll drill down into that at another show. Then you have franchises. Franchises are, I call them, similar to box stores. They have a big brand. They have a brand that they want to protect, and so they're kind of held hostage to that, which is good for you as a consumer. You want to make sure that you hire a reputable company, and if you like the big brands, you typically spend a little bit more money, but they do a pretty good job in my experience. So what are your goals? That's the thing that I would probably ask you to identify before you reach out to one of these dealers or even Home Depot or Lowe's. Identify how long you plan to be in the home. Uh, do you want the door to be quieter? What type of style are you looking for? Are you looking for traditional, modern, carriage, craftsman? Uh, we like to walk our customers through a process where we discover the style, the accessories, the construction of the door, and the quality of the door. And then that helps us identify what brand to match you with. And then we'll match you with a brand of a door that we feel is both uh, good quality and matches your needs. And when it comes to brands, there's a lot of local brands here in the Metro Atlanta area that's very popular. You're going to see AMAR. AMR is a huge brand nationwide. They are based in Norcross, and they sell to dealers. You have CHI, who's also in Norcross. They're a very popular brand. We sell a lot of CHI ourselves. We can go into the reasons why on another show. Clopay is very popular with consumers because they are on a lot of these home improvement shows, as well as AMAR, and they also are in a box store. So you're going to see Clopay in, what is that, Home Depot, and you're going to see AMAR in Lowe's, which is kind of co-branded as Pella. You have DoorLink, which isn't as popular, but they build a good product. They don't spend a lot of money advertising to consumers, much like CHI. You have Horman, which is a German company. They're U.S. Made, but they are a German-founded company. And Horman does a phenomenal job of building a great door. They do things a little bit unique in a lot of different areas, and so we can break that down also in a later show. Wayne Dalton. Wayne Dalton is a company out of, I believe, Douglasville, and Wayne Dalton's a popular manufacturer in the area, especially with new construction for a door that they built. We call it the foam core door. They have a tendency to last a long time because they're just really light, but if you bump it or you run it when the spring is broken, they have a tendency to get damaged really easily, which in most cases most doors do, especially new construction type doors. So no knock on them, but they are just everywhere. They're all over the place. So it makes it really easy to see their doors everywhere. And because they were installed in new construction when new construction was at its height like 15, 20 years ago. So those are some of the popular brands. We offer all of those brands. And I think when it comes to buying a new garage door, set a budget for what you think you can spend on it, and then just be flexible because your budget may not be what the garage door cost. And you may have some money left over. You never know. For what it is, a garage door costs less per year, in my opinion, than any other large appliance in your home. So, you go buy a refrigerator, you're going to spend $2-3 grand easily. You buy an oven. Ovens last a long time, but you're going to spend a good amount of money on it, depending on the quality. Washer and dryers, I feel like I'm replacing those constantly. But garage doors can last. I mean, I walk up on garage doors that are still going strong, 25, 30 years old. And those garage doors probably didn't cost but $1,500 brand new installed. So there's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration when it comes to purchasing a garage door. And we're going to drill down into a lot of these things as our next show. So speaking of which, our next show is going to be where to buy a garage door opener, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But to recap today's show, you have a bunch of different places to buy garage doors. There's some pros and cons to all of them, and it just depends on what you're most comfortable with. You've got to decide that for yourself, and I think that every person's slightly different. I know that everyone's not our customer, and we aren't everyone's garage door dealer. My job today is to try to educate you on the goals that you should be setting and questions you should be asking yourself, and then trying to identify what is best for you. So thank you for listening to our podcast. Again, this is Ryan with Aaron Overhead Doors, and we're trying to do our best to educate the Atlanta market on garage door and garage door industry and how to find the right garage door dealer for you. Thank you. Talk to you next on the show number 3, how to buy garage door opener.